What's good, y'all? We back with another video, man. How y'all doing today, man? Hopefully y'all doing great. Today we got real prison escapes attempted caught on camera. We got a nigga trying to lead a motherfucking chain gang on camera, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Think it's a motherfucking video. Yeah.
To break out of prison, you need at least one of three things. You need to be cunning, you need to be quick, and above all, you need an unstoppable thirst for freedom. The top 10 prison escapees on my list today had those three things, and luckily, their escape act was caught on camera. Number 10, the opportunist.
The opportunist. Let's sit back and watch this BS. What? Ain't gonna lie, that shit smooth. That nigga smooth. Oh God. That nigga smooth. That nigga got up out of it. Ain't gonna count. That nigga smooth. That nigga smooth, bruh. Nah, this shit smooth as hell. I ain't gonna count.
Sometimes breaking out of prison doesn't need weeks and weeks of planning. Sometimes the opportunity presents itself right in front of you, and you just gotta go for it. This is what happened for Mike Maldonado at Porter County Jail. Mike was being transferred to the jail, and the car was parked at the Sally Port of the jail, which is where they bring the prisoners in. The police officer leaves the car and goes over to another officer to discuss the transfer. But the gate hasn't shut. There seems to be an electric gate, and it still hasn't quite gone down yet. Mike jumps straight out of the car and runs under the gate while it's closing. The garage door finishes closing before the police could get him, so this bought him some extra time too. They looked for him for 2 hours but couldn't find him. Later on, there was a report of a stolen vehicle. This vehicle was linked to Maldonado, and he was found a day later. Number 9.
When you escape that zone, bro, you gotta go you gotta remake your whole image. I cut all my hair off, all this, bro. You feel me, bro? I'll remake my whole face.
After less than 60 seconds of work, she's free of the police.
The next escape is a lady who performs a simple Houdini trick. In Wisconsin, 30-year-old Amber Gonzalez was arrested for theft and possession of drug paraphernalia. They took her to a holding cell and handcuffed her to a wall. She was left on her own and decided to make a break for it. The CCTV footage shows her wriggling free from the handcuffs. At the same time, she's trying to plan the escape on her phone. She wriggles and wriggles until she eventually breaks free. Police later told ABC that these handcuffs were set to the tightest setting possible. Once she got out of the holding cell, she went outside through an emergency exit. She then traveled through people's yards until she met up with a truck driver at a nearby gas station. But this woman isn't as clever as you think. Once she and the truck driver got on the road, they decided to head back to the same hotel at which she was arrested. Staff noticed her straight away. She was rearrested an hour later. It's safe to say that she probably wasn't left on her own the next time. Number 8, the window slider.
I think it's a great idea. House sitters get somewhere to stay.
How you go back to the same hotel you was arrested at? Like, just goofy that motherfucker. What is that doing? Damn, nigga. What? Nigga hopped over the goddamn gate. Is that a table or a gate? No, I think that was a table. Nigga had going for it,
in
bro.
Garland County, 34-year-old Derek Estelle
crazy.
looks to be on the phone, perhaps talking to some loved ones. In reality, he's biding his time to make an escape. This wasn't a solo job either. He had conspired with other prisoners to distract other officers. Once the officers were on the other side of the room, he jumped across a counter and through a window. You can then see the footage of him squeezing out, followed by another officer squeezing out after him. Other footage captures him outside, making a run for it. Apparently, a car was waiting for him, which would be his ticket to freedom. They drove away despite officers trying to stop the car from pulling away, but the fact that the cops knew what the car looked like was a massive blow. Police found the car abandoned later on. Estelle was caught 3 weeks later and was living in an abandoned home with his girlfriend. His girlfriend is believed to be the driver of the vehicle he jumped into at the prison. Estelle's mother and stepfather were also charged with assisting the escape. Some mothers do anything for their kids. Number 7, Solid Snake.
Screen.
So do any of these niggas don't get caught?
Slowly moving from the middle cell, making their way to the corner cell, and then quickly climbing up to the ventilation system. They do this slowly. This is video from one of more than 30 cameras inside the jail. Lincoln County identified the escapees as Brian Moody, Sonny Baker, and Mark Robbins.
Any retro gamers watching will recall Solid Snake sneaking through the air ventilation systems, and this is exactly how these prisoners got out. This is what we can see on this CCTV footage at Lincoln Oregon County. 3 inmates walked over to the corner and quickly climbed into the ventilation system. But they weren't just climbing in and hoping for the best. They had done it many times before. They were essentially climbing in through this ventilation system and going into the kitchen. This way, they could pop in and get a snack whenever they wanted to. Eventually, they found out how to break out of the kitchen. Then they decided on their plan to escape. Of the 4 inmates, 3 were captured within 3 days. On the 4th day, the final convict was captured and put back. But the most shocking aspect of it all is that this wasn't their first escape attempt. 2 of the convicts had escaped 3 months later and through the exact same route. Let's just say this prison doesn't easily learn its lessons. Number 6.
So they couldn't put
the
a nigga like
bulldozer.
El Chapo in that bed. His ass would have been gone forever. Then all them niggas went to jail. Then all them niggas escaped. But ain't no way. Is that all them niggas got locked up?
Our next escape happened in Copenhagen, Denmark. Instead of climbing through the walls or escaping through fancy tunnels, the prisoners just got one of their buddies to crash into the wall with a bulldozer and hope for the best.
Oh,
This bulldozer
what?
did its job and completely destroyed the wall. Footage can be seen of the bulldozer simply smashing into the wall with several prisoners making a break for it. There was also believed to be a football match on at the time. Were they desperate to see the football game? Or were they desperate to blend into a massive crowd? It's difficult to tell.
They got they,
but this footage
but
did
they got
not-
their homeboy to crash into a wall. Like, how do they? Now that's crazy, bro. I ain't gonna lie, that's
come from
crazy, bro.
CCTV cameras. It came from a cameraman on the outside. This was in 1995,
He said trying to grab the
and long
camera,
before
bro.
camera
Stop
phones.
recording, stop
This is
recording,
why
stop
it's
recording.
rumored that this cameraman was in on the escape, or else he was just in the right place at the right time. One of the escapees is Brian Bo Larsen, who is every Danish prison guard's worst nightmare. He escaped prison again in 2004 by hiding in a container of leaves, which was transported out of the prison. In 2014,
what?
he used a hacksaw to saw the bars of his cell off and used rope ladders to climb up to the roof and back down on the other side. He's one of the world's most notorious prison escapees, but maybe not the most famous
better
on the
than El
list,
Chapo,
as we'll
though.
see later.
Jesus, he
Number
not
5,
better than El
the
Chapo.
vloggers.
Mastermind of the escape lifts up a sawed-off bunk bed. Underneath, there's a metal screen, which has already been cut open. He disappears into the vent, crawling
Damn.
through plumbing pipes inside the jail walls. Then, a man who would
What?
soon find himself on America's Most Wanted list, stopping to give the camera a thumbs up.
You really have to admire the balls on
Where you
these
get the
guys.
camera
While
from,
most
bro?
of the footage of prison escapes come from CCTV footage, these escapees decided to record themselves breaking out. Inmates in Orange County
Goofy,
had
bro.
smuggled
Like,
a cell phone into the building. In this video, we see them
Why
shimmying
do
through a
niggas do
vent
stupid
and
shit
climbing
like
through the
this,
plumbing
bro?
of the building. One of the escapees gives a thumbs
talking
up
about?
before he escapes
Man,
into the
nigga
vent.
get-
Once they are through the vents,
Bro,
one of them
what?
takes a selfie. They eventually reach the roof of the building, where they climb out. These guys were on the run for a week. They started filming the crib they were staying at. One of them starts smoking a marijuana pipe, while the other is holding a bottle of Jack Daniels. The sweet taste of freedom only lasted a week, though, until they were caught and put behind prison bars
why
once
they-
again.
why they
Number 4,
recorded
the
themselves,
smooth talkers.
Bro.
Do you need 1,000 parts or just
I don't need no part, my nigga. Damn, bro. Fuck.
running her hands through her hair and looking totally stressed out, rethinking her life choices. The following day, she's arrested, and the 3 guys on the run are apprehended 5 days later
Bro, who
after
is
a
this
tense
nigga,
siege
bro?
with police. Stick to what you're good at,
Bro, I
guys.
click an
Break
ad on
hearts,
it.
not
It's a
breaking out
random
of
nigga
jail.
talking.
A camera in an alley outside captured the men dressed in all white, casually walking.
Rather than carrying out some Houdini-like stunt to escape, these prisoners used their own charm and charisma to break free. In Texas, a female prison guard was sweet-talked into assisting with a prison break by 3 prisoners. She essentially did all the work for them. She shut off the alarms, unlocked the doors, and gave a false prisoner head count. This gave them an 11-minute head start. The prisoners seem to have gotten hold of other clothes, as they can be seen all wearing white and simply opening the gate and strolling out of the prison. Meanwhile, the prison guard can be seen running her hands through her hair and stressing about the situation. The prison guard was arrested a day later. The
Why
silver-tongued
did she
devils
do
were
that,
found
though?
after
Like-
5 days. No prison officers have been wooed by their charms since. Number 3, the crossdresser.
Can't even trust the goddamn car, bro. Nigga finna up on
The
her.
craziest prison escape on this list definitely comes from a Brazilian drug dealer named Clauvino da Silva. Da Silva's plan was as follows: get my daughter to visit me in my cell, dress up as my daughter, and leave pretending to be my daughter. The
Dress
small
up
matter
as
of
your
his
daughter
daughter
and
being
leave as
still
your
left
daughter.
in the prison cell wasn't of that much concern to him.
Bro,
So
these
he put on a
niggas is
black
getting
wig, glasses, bra,
so-
and a t-shirt.
these
He
niggas
also
so
put on a
sarcastic,
silicone
bro.
mask.
I
Da
mean,
Silva
so,
was also nicknamed
advanced.
Shorty, so he was roughly the same height as his daughter. But the guards caught hold of this. In this footage, we can see them removing the glasses and the wig. The jig was up. His career as a potential drag queen was up too. Police questioned whether his daughter was in on the escape too. There were also another 8
Bro,
people involved.
what?
It suggested that the
Like,
wig,
this is-
mask,
this is-
bra,
this
and
got
t-shirt
to
were
be
all gradually snuck into his cell.
craziest thing
Had he
I
pulled
ever
this off,
seen,
the guards
bro.
at the station would need to get their eyes tested straight away. This attempt was crazy, but unsuccessful, so it didn't make the top of the list. Let's see what came in at number 2. Number 2, the skinny man.
Naked though? Bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Niggas got it, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. These
Coming in
niggas
at
got
number
it,
2
bro.
is a stunt which would make the great Harry Houdini very proud. Rustam
These niggas got it, bro.
Sharudinov, 25, was put in prison for theft and burglary. It's quite clear that this guy would be extremely good at burglarizing, as he can squeeze himself into almost any space. He made this escape by stripping naked and escaping through the food
Bro, I
hatch.
know his
Once he
meat,
broke
bro. I know
free,
his meat
he
got
reached back
stuck
in
right
to
there,
take
bro.
some clothes
Oh
for
my
himself.
God.
Then he got changed and made a dash for freedom. This activity was clearly visible on
Bro, they
CCTV.
gonna kill your
Clearly,
goofy
none of the
ass,
gods
bro.
were
Why you
looking
do
at the
that?
time, as the footage of what looks like a door giving birth to a fully grown man surely would have caught their eye. This didn't happen in the dead of night either. It was 4 p.m. Sharudinov is from the Republic of Dagestan, which is in Russia. It's difficult to find any information of him ever being caught, so he might still be out there on the loose. Don't be surprised if you see this guy
Dang.
sneaking in through your letterbox. Number 1. El
So he
Chapo.
still,
Daring escape.
so the nigga still out? The nigga still ain't get caught? What? That's crazy.
Caught their eye. This didn't happen in the dead
Wait, how they didn't catch him though? Like he. I ain't gonna lie.
of night either. It was 4 p.m. Sharudinov is from the Republic of Dagestan, which is in Russia. It's difficult to find any information of him ever being caught, so he might still be out there on the loose. Don't be surprised if you see this guy sneaking in through your letterbox. Number 1. El Chapo.
Most daring escape in recent history. At one point, he appears.
Everybody know about El
forward,
Chapo, bro. If you don't know
focusing
about El
on
Chapo, bro,
the floor of
he's
the
just
shower.
goofy, bro. Nigga escaped from
He sits
a
down,
shower hole.
appearing to
bro.
remove his sandals. And then he vanishes.
At number 1, we have to pay homage to one of the greatest prison escape artists ever, El
Ever.
Chapo.
El Chapo,
In this footage,
nigga
you
know
can
that.
see him walking up and down his cell until
Nigga, El Chapo
suddenly he
is the
drops
goddamn
into the
LeBron
tunnel. His
James,
real name
Michael
is
Jordan
Joaquin
fucking
Guzman,
escaping
and he's one of the
prison,
world's
nigga,
most
like, this shit
notorious
crazy.
criminals. To escape, he had built a secret underground tunnel beneath the shower, but El Chapo holds a bit of leeway with the guards. He wasn't slowly chipping away like Andy Dufresne in The Shawshank Redemption. There was loud hammering, but the guards outside decided to ignore this noise. In the footage, you can see him pacing back and forth, waiting for the right moment. Before he exits, you can see a mobile phone on his desk, which had been smuggled in to organize the escape. When escaping, he turned the volume up on the television by his bed to drown out any sound. This tunnel went underground for a mile until it reached a nearby property, coincidentally and conveniently owned by El Chapo's wife. But the real work was done inside the tunnel. His drug cartel was used to build tunnels between the US and Mexican border to smuggle drugs. They simply built another extensive tunnel system to help free their leader. It
Nah,
had
this nigga
lighting,
El Chapo
ventilation,
is
and even a
fucking
rail
God,
system.
bruh.
The rail had an adapted motorcycle on it which was used to transport tools for the dig. El Chapo's breakout was in 2014, and he enjoyed 2 years of freedom until he was eventually caught again. He is now held in an infamous American prison, which I've covered in
Oh,
great
yeah.
deal on the
Oh,
Fugitive
and
channel. You
I watched that video too. Y'all should go watch that, bro. Shit crazy.
can check it out for yourself, but the bottom line is that El Chapo isn't escaping there. And that brings us to the end of our video. If you're looking for more content on the murky world of prisons,
I ain't gonna lie, bro. El Chapo not escaping no more, bro. That prison he at, bro, that shit is dead, nigga. All that escaping is over with, and I ain't gonna lie. You feel me? But man, now this is crazy. Now this was crazy how they would, man, especially nigga who masked up as his freaking daughter, bro. Like what? Like these didn't get so crazy. Man, hope you guys like the video, bro. Man, ain't no way, bro. Until next time, bro.